Hello and welcome back, children. If you remember in our previous video of Unit 6 from your Beehive textbook, My Childhood, we had read about the early childhood of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He had told us about his birth, about Rameshwaram and the mosque street there. He told us about the wonderful qualities of his mother and father that he had inherited from them, and he introduced us to his friends too and told us how they never had any religious differences. He had three friends, Orthodox Brahmins, and he was a devout Muslim, but then there was no difference among them. You had also read about the World War II, the beginning of the World War II, and how Rameshwaram was affected, and how he had earned his first wages by catching those bundles of newspapers from the moving train and distributing them. And he was helped by his cousin Samsuddin to earn his first wages. Now, shall we read and find out more about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's childhood? Right. If you see, children, these lines are written in a very simple language. APJ Abdul Kalam has tried to reach everyone through his writing. So he has not made it a very complicated kind of a writing. So you can understand it very easily. So one day when I was in 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramanatha Sastri, who wore the sacred thread. So now you can just see the difference between a Muslim and a Brahmin over here. This Muslim boy used to wear a cap, that is APJ Abdul Kalam. And his friend Ramanatha Sastri, who was a Brahmin, wore the sacred thread. Now, there was a new teacher who had come to their class. Now let's see what the teacher did. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. Could not stomach, could not tolerate. So this teacher could not tolerate a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. So in accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. Now, in accordance with our social ranking means, the teacher thought that APJ Abdul Kalam did not belong to the high class. So that he thought was the social ranking. According to the social rank, according to him that is, he felt APJ Abdul Kalam belonged to a lower class. So he asked him to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanatha Sastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. So his friend Ramanatha Sastri looked utterly downcast. He felt very sad and dejected and depressed. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So you see, the bond between these two boys, when APJ Abdul Kalam was shifting to the last row, Ramanatha Sastri began to weep, and that picture of his weeping for his friend left a lasting impression on APJ Abdul Kalam. He could never ever forget that picture of his friend weeping for him when he was shifted to the last row. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Sastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. Now, you know, Lakshmana Sastri is the father of Ramanatha Sastri, and he was the high priest at the Rameshwaram temple, a very important personality there. So he summoned the teacher, he called the teacher, and in the presence of the children told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. So he said it was a poison which was very dangerous and should not be spread to the children who are very innocent and do not know anything about this. He bluntly, in a straightforward manner, very frank and honest manner, he asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. So he asked the teacher to say sorry to the children or leave the school and also the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Sastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So the teacher was really sorry for what he did because of the sense of conviction, the strong belief which Lakshmana Sastri had conveyed. And this reformed the young teacher. It is truly amazing how a person of such high caste, you can say, or Brahmin, a high priest of a temple, spoke so beautifully about the intolerance which the teacher was spreading. So it is really amazing and heartening to note that he did not believe in religious difference. Now, APJ Abdul Kalam tells us about another person who made a difference in his life. So let's read on. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. Now, segregation is separating or separation of different social groups. Now, what are these social groups? Now, if you see in, in the olden days, there were groups, made on like four groups were made, like the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. So Rameshwaram was very particular about these things. So they were very strict, they were very rigid, firm in terms of the separation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Siva Subramanya Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin, was with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. Now, he's talking about his science teacher Siva Subramanya Iyer. He too was an orthodox Brahmin, very strict, and with a conservative wife. Now she was a very you can say traditional kind of a person, okay, but Siva Subramaniam was a rebel. That is, he would do just the opposite. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. Now, what is this varying backgrounds? Varying is different kinds of people living in the society from different backgrounds. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. Mingle, mix, or interact easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. So you see, what a wonderful person this Siva Subramaniam Iyer was. He wanted to break the social barriers so that people of different backgrounds, different social statuses could come together. So he would spend hours with Kalam and encourage him by saying that he should develop so much that he should be on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. In this way, these people like Lakshmana Sastri, Siva Subramaniam Iyer, and several others made a deep impact in the life of APJ Abdul Kalam. One day, he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. So, his science teacher, Siva Subramaniaya, invited APJ Abdul Kalam to his home for a meal. His wife, who was an orthodox Brahmin and very traditional, was horrified. She was shocked at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. Now, she was a Brahmin, so they wouldn't want the people of other caste or community to come and, make their kitchen impure. So, to be ritually pure is to keep other influences out from the kitchen. Now, she refused to serve me in her kitchen. Now, Siva Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. Now, you see, what a great person. He was not perturbed, he was not disturbed, he was not upset at all. Neither did he get angry with his wife. What he did, he served Kalam with his own hands and sat down beside him to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. So you see, the lady of the house watched from behind the kitchen door. So APJ Abdul Kalam wondered whether she found it any different the way he ate. You know, he was actually born and brought up in a society which was dominated by Brahmins and Hindus. So he was almost, he used to eat vegetarian food. And so he was wondering, did she find it any different the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal? So he was just like them. So when I was leaving his house, Siva Subramanya Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So when he was invited yet again to join for dinner the next weekend, Kalam was a little hesitant. So he was, doubtful. Should I come again or no? So Subramaniam sir told him not to get upset. He said, once you decide to go against the system, you have to be brave and tackle all these problems. So when I visited his house the next week, Siva Subramanya Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So you see, what a beautiful change came over her because of her husband, who was not angry with her. He simply showed her what has to be done to overcome all these differences in society. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramantapuram. Now, the Second World War was over. It was around 1945, and India's freedom was imminent. Imminent is sure to happen. It was definite that India was going to get its freedom. That happened in 1947. So Gandhiji said, Indians will build their own India. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. This kind of optimism, unprecedented means that which was never known before. And optimism is hope and cheer. So people started feeling that kind of a hope which they had never felt before. So at that time, when India attained independence, APJ Abdul Kalam asked his father for permission to leave Rameswaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramantapuram. Now, Rameshwaram was an island town. From here, he wanted to go to Ramanathapuram, which was a city. So he wanted to grow, he wanted to develop, and he wanted to do something big in life. So he had to leave his ancestral home and his birthplace and wanted to go to Ramanathapuram. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? Now you see, he told me, this is Kalam's father, as if he was thinking aloud, he said, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. And he's quoting the example of the seagull. A seagull does not have a nest, it just flies across the seas. Okay, across the sun you can say, alone and without a nest. So, if Kalam has to grow, his father felt that he too has to leave his home, his nest, his hometown, his parents, and go away to be educated further and to grow as a human being. He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may have given them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Now you see, Abdul Kalam's father was uh, okay. He agreed to let Kalam go, but maybe his mother was slightly hesitant. Mothers are mothers; they do not want their children to leave them and go. So she must have been a little hesitant. So he quoted these lines, which are from Khalil Gibran's poem "Your Children." So he quoted these lines. He said, your children are not your children. They are life's children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself, life's desire for itself. They come through you, but not from you. That means you have given them birth, but you don't own them. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. So you cannot keep your children in bondage. You have to let them go, for they have their own thoughts. Such wonderful thoughts for a man who's not had any formal education, but such progressive thoughts. So with this, APJ Abdul Kalam ends this part of his autobiography. If you want to read further, and then you have to refer to The Wings of Fire. So dear children, I hope you get to learn quite a lot from the life of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, from his simplicity, from his parents, from his teachers, from his friends, and the people who've influenced him so much. So dear children, with this we come to the end of this unit. For better understanding, do read the text. And until we meet again, goodbye, God bless, and take care. Thank you.